like money that you never thought that you'd ever make. Some of the biggest mistakes that you made, how frequently you got paid, and just how your income was at that particular time. So take us back to when you're 21, like early 20s, and how things were then.
Thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate it, Mpumi. I think the first thing I'll say is that the good days are now.
Yes.
That's the first thing I'll say. But the difference is that now I can't just withdraw that money and go buy a Ferrari. You know, it's not with me. It's sitting in a business somewhere as an asset. It's sitting in another business somewhere there as value. It's sitting somewhere there as something I'm building for the future that is showing good growth in terms of the behavior and the trajectory in the work that I'm working on. I mean, I'm actually glad as well that you brought a diversified panel of people. I mean, I checked out a bit of what you did with is it Munye? Yes, Abu Munye and Abu Prinsky. I think that was incredible. Gigi is extremely correct. There's a lot of money in music. There's a lot of money in the music industry. Whoever said there's no money in music was lying. There is so much money that the digital time as it came, and I've been studying it because I have not been participating inside the music. Obviously, I did so much work in the entertainment industry, so much. I put in so much work in a space of a decade. And I think that work became, amazing work in terms of historically in the entertainment industry in the country. But monetary, I was still a bit early. This information that I have now, if I had it then, I would already be a billionaire by now, I think. But I did not have the information at that time, which is a similar thing as a lot of the messages you've been preaching, Nicolette. When you started a few years ago, even on YouTube, the country was not here. I'm sure there was a lot of times where you felt frustrated sometimes looking at because I felt the same. At that point, there's times, no matter how strong you can be, there's times when sometimes I'd feel like I know what I'm preaching is correct, but like literally nothing yashanya, like the whole nation is looking at you, but you know that the message you're preaching is the way, is the future, is the correct message. Which right now, where we are comparing it to just a few years ago, as I was saying on Nicolette, it's the same thing now where I feel, if I had this information even much just 5 years ago, it would be amazing. But I think what is great when everybody has risen to that information. Whether they got it from Dane Locke, they got it from Robert Kiyosaki, they got it from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, they got it from the monk who sold his Ferrari guy, or they got it from Gary Vaynerchuk, they got it from Busi Tembawayo, whoever they got it from. But the best place where they can get that information from is through their own lives, is through the mistakes that they have made. And I think that has been the best teacher for me when I'm booming. Everybody else is so blessed to have the energy, to have the ambition, to have the passion, to have the drive, to have age on your side, to have health on your side. And I think we made history. And I'm blessed to have made history in that era of my life. But what I thought was a lot of money then, it's now even quadrupled with the digital era. So now there's different, what I was talking about with these processes, and then Galena, the different digital platforms where you would, so there's different distribution platforms where you distribute your product, whatever product you're selling, whether it's in umbila, distribution platforms, you've got clients. Now my clients are money in Ganja, your portfolio is diversified so much so that you are selling to a lot of people and everything you're doing is now automated into what Nicolette touched on a little bit earlier on and said, I think she didn't verbally say it, but it's like passive income. Some of those streams become passive income. They might be giving you maybe R2 a month, like as Gigi would know, whether it's your publishing company is giving you R2 a month, whether you're getting that check at some songs that you forgot about that is coming from Samro, or you're getting, a mechanical royalty. There's so many platforms, and I look at those as revenue stream. Alone, there's merchandise, there's shows, there is publishing, there is local, which is knowledge that I also did not have mina kudala. But even namanje, it's a great opportunity for one to relearn ukuthi manje sekwenziwa ngani in the digital era. Because even the music on its own, I don't even see it as music anymore. A song, I see it as content. Even if you can, musicians will tell you, now releasing immediately. But audiences now, they consume for 3 months, music video. No. Sebafuna ukuyithola ukuthi iphume ne music video immediately, because now it is a piece of content. So which means in a great environment, Bantwana Baseka, even everybody that is watching, no matter how much work or how difficult it might have been, this has been the greatest time for us to sort of sit back and press that reset button. Right now, it's an amazing time, because now South Africans are now comfortable to spend online. People are comfortable to swipe their credit cards online, which means you guys can go crazy and create things and make so much money. But there is different revenue streams.
Yeah, and could you touch on some of the mistakes that you made? I know you just mentioned them in passing, but just for someone who's watching who could possibly run through that situation, maybe a lump sum amount of money that comes in and you're excited and you go buy a house, a lump sum of money comes in and you go buy a car. We've heard a lot of stories of people buying cars and then they actually didn't own them, but just some of the mistakes that you went through that you would just make people aware to not go through the same thing.
I think it's the same thing that happens now. It's also a different cycle. That's why because also generations grow. But other people, no matter message, you know, they'll still do it. You know, and I think, let alone being a musician, I think aqale ngokuthi okay abhadala kubhadalayo, kodwa uma uyozitshela ukuthi uyazirewarda, akazirewardi ngento ukuthi izombuyisela back leyo mali, uzirewarda ngento ukuthi iyayikhipha west leyo mali. Bana nokuthi uthole amanzi amaningi wagcwala emgqomeni wakho, noqeda wena unemiqomo emincane eminingi la A10, and that's your bills, right? Uyathela la kulo mqomo wokuqala uthele ngapho, and then uthele kwe-10. And then when you think you still have it, but you're not aware that is leaking. 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 So I was not aware of that. So and I did not even care, because next 2 years you know, the next 2 years and at some point we are born. And the years you know, and because so the television, on shows, on radio, and then obviously in Katinai Hamba on writing books, on talks, giving talks, publishing, writing songs for other people, producing songs for other people, or just being an executive producer on other people's albums and music, creating events, doing events, merchandise, impahla, since and then all the way to now, one knows better to be able to create big machineries, which are businesses. But the mistake is not to, I don't even want to use the word spending, but circulating my money onto liabilities, as we would all know, as opposed to assets who bring the money back. And that's what I did. So again, I think I was smart enough to buy houses, but I think I was excited about sports cars, and I'm glad that I did that, because I had to go to taste and you know, I had to have sports cars, I had to have I had to overseas trips, and all of these things that we all do as black people. I did all those things. I'm glad so fast. That's why I'm very happy with the next half of my life is being spent with somebody who's wiser, and I'm glad we are all not sufficient information. As we keep learning, we keep sharing the information.
Yeah. And Gigi, how have you been investing back into music? So what are some of the things that you need as an artist on a day-to-day basis? Be like a photographer, a stylist, a makeup artist, any of a studio. So every time you make money, so